This podcast and others at Duckfeed.tv have been brought to you by the patrons at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Pledge your support to get cool shows, to make dreams come true, to get cool rewards, and to help out some podcasters. That's patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Where is the challenge? Fight. But the eyes of liberty never sleep. Fight. Master teeth. Fight. Better get ready, glory boy. Fight. Try this one. Fight. I got me a mountain to tame.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I are slowly but surely killing ourselves with the X-Men animated series episodes. And we're doing it for your entertainment. How are you, Gary? How's things? What's going on? It's been a little while since we talked.
Yeah, it has. It has been a little while. I'm okay.
Cool.
I'm okay.
All right.
I'm
all right.
yeah, just having a solemn and respectful Tuesday. Yeah. Doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing good. I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter to immediately date the recording of this podcast, and despite not really having much of affinity for those games previously, I'm really kind of digging this one.
I've heard the new one is good. I have an aversion to lobby based kind of co-op stuff. Like I like a co-op campaign. I don't really like let's go on a big fight, organize it ahead of time kind of thing.
It's It's weird because I'm not like knowing a little bit about your gaming taste, having listened to you talk about video games for a long time. I don't like. I think that I think you could definitely play this as a solo game, right? Like, so they give you a little cat partner that helps you distract monsters or whatever. So you could play it fully offline, but I don't know that you would really care about like. There's just systems on top of systems on top of systems on top of systems. Like it's ridiculous. Like every time I look around, there's a new thing that I need to do.
And like I like systems a lot. It's just there's a lot of things that make, because people have been trying to get me to play it since it came out, and there's lots of things that are specifically non-Gary things. Like it is a Skinner box. It's about killing a monster, getting loot to craft better equipment, so you can kill a better monster to get better loot, to craft better equipment to kill a better monster. Yep. Ad infinitum. I don't care about that. Like I don't get very much out of those kind of things. I don't like loot drops. I don't like grinding for loot drops. I've never liked the designs in that game. Like they're just dinosaurs, and I just not that excited about killing dinosaurs. In games. And I played the 3DS one for a few hours, and I had a hard time with it. I don't know if I wanted lock on or I wanted something else to the combat. For me, like the combat was slow and deliberate in that Souls way, but it didn't feel like Souls to me.
I just don't get,
I understand the new one feels a little bit quicker, but
I don't get why so many people compare this damn game to Souls so much. Like it goes back and forth. I see people be like, "Oh, Monster Hunter is like Souls now," and then a bunch of people get indignant. It's like, well, actually, Monster Hunter came out way before Souls did. So actually, Dark Souls has always been like Monster Hunter, and I'm like, they're nothing like one another. They're literally nothing. Like you have a weapon and you get dressed up, and I guess like you could make an argument that the combat is like that. Well, you can't really cancel out of stuff. I can't remember the term I'm looking for, but it's
deliberate.
Like deliberate. Yeah, it's very deliberate. Like you have to like know what you're doing. There's some of that, but it doesn't articulate the same way at all because you're not fighting like people. You're constantly fighting. You're never ever fighting a humanoid thing that I've seen so far. Like it's always like a giant dinosaur or something. So
all beast fights.
People try to get me to play the Wii U version. Brian Wade made me buy the Wii version so I could play it on the Wii U, and did not tell me that it was a port from the 3DS version where like you go 5 steps and you have a loading screen. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that's actually the series before this new one. That loading screen thing is one of the things that people have said that the new one's better because it has these kind of big contiguous worlds. They've always had those loading screens regardless of the platform, really.
And this works out really well.
Sure
like this feels good to like roam around and find stuff and everything else. But like, I definitely don't understand the reason people are trying to get everybody that likes Dark Souls to play this game.
I don't really understand that either. And it is something where it's like, I'm sure that like if I sat down with it and spent some time to get past the learning curve, it's not like I wouldn't have fun. If I look at a back of the box thing, like what are the things that I dig about games, right? Like I like a story progression. I like environments more than I like big monsters. I'm like, oh, I'm in a cool old cathedral. What's this like? Oh, I'm in this weird underground maze that's to an ancient people. Like what are their story? Like there's things that the game just isn't about, that I think that I like build, like I like coming up with new skills. I don't like loot. Like I don't like minor statistical bonuses that you add in aggregate to become much more powerful. That's something I kind of hate in games actually. Like, so there's just like a lot of the back of the box things that are like fine things. They're fine things to have a game be about that I know are just things that don't really attract me to games.
Sure.
know? So like, I'm curious, I'm kind of curious about it. I think that once it gets cheap enough, I probably will check it out. Just because there's a lot of buzz about it.
You can just download a demo if you want to check it out.
I don't have time to, even if I like the demo, like I don't have time to play it either.
Gotcha.
I've got other stuff I want to be playing and the, so it's like I think it's something I will play eventually. But it's just something that is hard for me to get excited about. No, like it's become a weird game that is hard to like separate out the people who are like super into it. I've heard from a couple of people who are converts like yourself who like didn't really like the old ones. For the most part, it's just people who love Monster Hunter already and are like, this new one is like Monster Hunter, but more so.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a lot for me in Monster Hunter. Like I didn't really like it. It's that plus more so. Like it could be a better version of it, but it's like a better version of something I didn't like very much.
Exactly.
Which is better, but it's just a premise that's not super attractive to me.
The fact that there's not really, there's a story, but it's not really like, it's very thin. Like it's, oh, hey, you're in a new world and we need you to go kill this monster. Like that's pretty much the plot so far.
There's a way that you could articulate like a monster hunting game. Like you could take those words and make a game I would dig, I think, but it would be closer to how monster hunts work in The Witcher. Like it'd be about research and preparation and like brewing potions and stuff. I know there's a little bit of that preparation stuff that goes through, but this feels a lot like learning and dodging patterns,
Mm-hmm.
Like the part of, I think the Souls part comparison comes a lot from like a lot of people who play Souls games and they think of that game and the combat exclusively about like learning tells,
Gotcha.
And I have a finite appetite for that. Like that's something that the Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 kind of taught me, that like I have a certain number of tells I want to memorize, but just going in, having something kill me with an attack I've never seen before, then coming back and knowing that attack for the next time is not an inherently valuable loop to
Gotcha.
me.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I hate. It's something I like to a degree, but I just don't, not attractive.
You mentioned like going through like cathedrals and like ancient civilizations and stuff like that, and like that would be a really cool version. That would be like the Souls version of a Monster Hunter game for me. It was if these weird monsters had taken over and cleared out like these human settlements, right? Had taken over it for themselves. So you're exploring these areas and you're learning about the monster and you're learning about the people, and then you're having this fight. As it plays out now, you're wandering around Jurassic Park, like killing all of the nice dinosaurs.
It would be amazing if it was like that, where it was instead of monsters, they were like, oh, this is like, I would do like an Eldritch Hunter, like you go to these forbidden temples or what have you, and you put down the things that old civilizations or old cultists or whatever that either like took out those civilizations or that they summoned.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. I think that'd be real cool. Like Scott Benson, who is the guy who did Night in the Woods, who's been on Bonfireside Chat, did a big thread on Twitter that kind of like encapsulated a lot of my feelings for it, where it's like, it's such the aesthetic. It's very hard for me just to feel cool taking down those monsters, no matter how big they are. Because like what's cool is a gigantic pillar of skulls that like talks in a demon voice. Like a dinosaur is just not. I love dinosaurs. Like I don't, but that doesn't lend itself to wanting to kill dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I just think they're cool. I don't like necessarily think they're fun to fight. I am playing Dragon's Dogma finally, way past everybody else, because I get to games like years and years after. So I have probably like 7 hours into Dark Arisen.
Okay.
So I've been playing that, and that's I understand there's a little bit of DNA, and some of the things I don't like about Monster Hunter probably apply to that as well. But this is working out a lot better for me, because even though the story so far, I don't know if it gets better, but so far is really bad. It does feel about exploring environments. Like, oh, like there's a castle on that windswept like cliff. I'm gonna go check that out.
Yep, that's the fun of that game. Yeah, because you can.
There's a thing there. So that is working for me right now in a way that is scratching more things on my checklist than I think Monster Hunter would. You know?
Oh yeah, Dark Arisen or Dragon's Dogma is definitely, like, when I was playing that game this year, or I guess last year now. I was the whole time I was thinking, it's like, man, this would have been like a much better game for Bonfireside Chat than Neo. Like, I would have loved to hear, and I'm sure you and Cole are going to play it. Like, going to do an episode of some sort on that game at some point. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. It's a cool game. Like the narrative stuff so far is too dumb to like really grab onto, but the play and exploration is really good.
And the narrative stuff does get better. Like, it's...
Does it? Okay.
But it does. But it's going to do that thing where it's going to hide its charms until the very, very, very end, and then you're going to be like,
gotcha.
why wait? Like, why make me wait the 20 hours to do this? What are you doing?
Give me a hook. Like, it is such a... I wonder... I mean, I'm sure there have been essays written about it, but like, it feels very fraught to like do a game that is based around the existence of a incredibly satisfied, happy slave race. You know, here's a race of things
or whatever.
Yeah,
that was real. That was real weird to me the entire time.
That feels very fraught to me. Like, oh, we're just happy to obey, sir. And I'm like, oh, you know, when they're explaining them to you, it's like, do they have agency? It's like, no, they're just happy to make sure you're good.
But
they live here. They live to serve. They literally live to serve, and they love it.
They look like everybody else. Like, they look exactly like humans do. So, like, how am I supposed to tell the pawns apart, like, from the people that are like have agency? And also, like, are you guys eating? Do you get hungry? Like, do you have to poop?
Yeah,
like, because all of that would tell me that you're a living organism and not just some like weird thing that's obeying all of my commands.
It would just be. I would love to have like the existence of that in a world is a really interesting question to kind of tackle. If it was done with a little bit of verisimilitude, like, do you run into people who are like, hey, we need to, even if they like doing it, we need to stop making these things servants.
I don't remember like any quests like that happens. So
there should be things like that. Like, it should have a little bit of that, like, real world implication, as opposed to being this very, very far fetched, like, fantasy construct you just kind of have to accept on the surface. Like, the pawn stuff is very weird to me, and that's like a large part of why the story stuff seems bad to me, other than the fact that like every single side quest is go get 10 of whatever. It's a very funny, actually. Like, they have because usually if a character says like go kill 10 rats, usually they say hey, my basement has rats in it, like, go kill them. Characters in Dragon's Dogma say, go kill 10 rats. I don't care where they are or when you do it. I just want it to be done.
You to go kill the 10 rats. Absolutely, yeah.
Somebody said, go kill 2 seagulls. And like, why? I just fucking hate seagulls. I want proof that you killed 2 of them. And I went and shot 2 seagulls, and it was, it was fine. I got a bunch of experience. It's like, well, shit. Like, there are problems with the game so far, but I'm really enjoying the fighting, and it has a little bit of that like Breath of the Wild style emergence. Like, I was walking down the beach, there was a cyclops there that was fighting with harpies, and then I like stopped and I fought the cyclops, and it was really fun. So there's elements of like, there's somewhere between that game and Monster Hunter and Souls, there's like the perfect Gary game somewhere out there, and like Witcher 3 probably, like throwing in some of that DNA for that research part. There is the perfect hunt big monsters game, but none of them are exactly it.
All of that and Matthew McConaughey's abs. Am I right?
Yeah, that's what I got to get. All right.
Those are the 4 components to my perfect game.
Yep. All right.
My favorite part of Dragon's Dogma, and we'll move on into X-Men stuff in just a second, y'all. I'm sorry, but that first experience that you have when you're going to someplace far away, when a quest marker is really far away, and like you have limited inventory, which I normally hate, and I didn't end up liking in this game, but it made the tension of like, I'm going to plan this long journey to go to this place, because there's very limited fast travel, and the stuff that's there is because the DLC gives you more stuff than the base game ever did, which I've seen people actually complain about. But I love fast
travel was like 200,000 money.
Yeah,
in the base game.
But like, there was like that first time that you like went on a journey and like night fell, and you encountered some like weird, dark, like horrible monster that you had never seen before, and you're just scared out of your wits. And the whole time, like, your pawns are just babbling about the weather and get them, sir. Like,
you idiots have agency.
I went in and made my pawns talk as much as possible. Like, I wanted the cacophony of pawn just talking all the time around me. It works so well.
Comforting white noise.
Yeah, man. Like, the whole time. Oh, sir, I'm familiar with these lands. Like, I can't remember the exact lines, but it's
that's pretty much it. The Nightfall has done really well in that game.
Yeah,
like, it does
absolutely
have that feeling of danger. The one thing that frustrates me, and maybe you can help me because you played this before, and there's a way around it. Because I tend to do side quests for a while, because something I'm learning about games when I think about the value proposition of doing side stuff is that games are very bad in general, I think, at, people can tell you this, but games don't signal whether you're going to need to do side stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could just mainline the game and do the main quest and get out in a reasonable number of hours. However, what if that means the last boss will be impossible because I didn't level up, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing about that fast travel is it's making the early side quest stuff kind of really frustrating. Like, I want to be able to undertake those super long journeys, but I went to like a place, I'm at like this castle where these thieves live there, and they're going to indoctrinate me, or these like barbarians or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like nowhere to sleep. And it's like, well, I can walk halfway across the fucking world now and go sleep, but really I just like would love to be able to travel back because I'm doing these little like side quests for these guys. I want to do those perilous journeys, but I also want maybe a little bit more cost of living kind of stuff.
I definitely had that problem too. Like, because a lot of your side quests, especially if you've seen any of the escort missions yet,
they keep getting failed on my list, but I haven't done them.
Okay.
So.
All the escort mission is like, hey, this NPC wants to take you to wants you to take them to a spot, and you do get like a neat little cutscene where you're both like looking at a waterfall or whatever, which is really kind of neat and pretty. But they're so fucking far out of the way, and so what I ended up doing was using like the fast travel stuff, and I would just put one, because you can pick them up and excuse me, you can pick them up and put them down wherever you want to, and you can just fast travel there. So I would just put one at like all of these like locations that I kept noticing that I would be going back to. So it ended up being like, oh, I have this side quest. You want me to take you to the ass end of the world? I'm going to teleport there, and because I don't want to make this game boring, I'm going to walk back from there, so that I feel like I'm not getting stuck anywhere, and I'm not losing a lot of progress.
But you're not babysitting somebody on this long journey.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the worst part. Like the one time that like because they're idiots. So like I was trying to run away. Like there's a giant griffin over there. Please run this way, Mr. NPC man. And like you're not. You're just like wandering around and getting killed. Like this is boring. Like I'm not equipped to deal with the giant griffin in the middle of the night. I'm sorry. Like it's just not possible. So that's what I ended up doing with the fast travel system, and a lot of the side quest stuff, especially as I started getting closer to the end, I just kind of didn't even bother with, because it was. At that point, I felt like I was powerful enough, and like I was clearing enemies well enough that I didn't really feel like I needed to get the experience or the extra gear or whatever. And I had kind of settled into my class that I liked a lot. Like the magical archer class is just fucking dope as hell, and so is the Mystic Knight thing. So
I'm pretty close to quitting side stuff and just kind of playing it just because I want to be able to finish it.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to playing it more. Like,
I should mention, I did not touch the DLC, so I can't speak on that.
I've heard the DLC is extremely soulsy. Like, people keep saying that the environments are really like gothic and haunted in a way that I really appreciate. So I'm really excited. That's the one thing I'm definitely going to do. One of the things I like about it, and I understand, just bring it back to Monster Hunter as opposed to bring it back to X-Men the animated
series for Days of Future Cast
is that I went and I was fighting some lizard men who, like, for a long time were giving me a lot of trouble. I wasn't spec'd to fight them. I could finally take them out because I got high enough level, and I was fighting some and was winning, like, just kind of by the skin of my teeth. And then a chimera just like dove in and fucked me up, like, out of nowhere. Like the monsters will fight each other, and they have overlapping territories and stuff, which I understand that's a big part of Monster Hunter, which is appealing to me. It's just like, I think I like D&D monsters more than I like dinosaurs, like, as things to fight.
Totally fine. I love finding those lizard men just sunbathing on the rocks, like next to a thing, and you just kind of sneak up to them and just stab them. It's so good.
Yep, stab them in the tail. What episodes are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about Jeremy finding his notes and the 17 million tabs that he has open in
we're talking about
Chrome.
Old Soldiers. Is the
Old Soldiers, yeah.
And hidden agendas.
Yes. I think we incorrectly, last time we recorded, said that we were going to be talking about Mr. Sinister. I think this is the Sam Guthrie episode. Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, they have names that don't make any. One's called Descent and one's called Hidden Agendas, and like there is a Descent and a Hidden Agenda in both.
Yeah, I don't understand why these are named anything. At least Old Soldiers make sense, and I kind of like this episode, Gary. Like,
me too.
I think this is a solid X-Men episode. This is if the animation was better, right? Like if this was season 1 animation team, I think this would be considered one of the best episodes.
And even then, the animation is not so, like, the models still have that uncanny valley, like, this isn't my beautiful Wolverine, kind of aspect. The actual still drawings are pretty okay. Like, this Captain America looks like Captain America to me. Here.
Yeah, we're gonna I just had to cough, but yeah, the fact that like Captain America, like we're going to get into it, but like Wolverine is just wandering around being all sneaky, and Captain America shows up literally wearing an American flag in Nazi occupied France, like just cracks me the fuck up.
It happens. It happens. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So for the episode's called Old Soldiers. In it, here's the synopsis. Wolverine thinks back to the time. Oh, I said thinks back in time. Wolverine thinks back to the time where he fought in World War II and teamed up with Captain America. Okay.
Clear and to the point.
Has the cartoon really established that Wolverine is that old? Yeah, I feel like it hasn't.
No.
I'll give it a pass.
And I don't really, like, I think that's just kind of something that we know about his character. But I don't think that it's actually been specifically mentioned. Like, I can't separate where I learned Wolverine facts from. Like, yes. I don't know. Maybe I learned it in high school. Probably not. But maybe I learned it from the comic books or the TV shows or the movies or whatever.
So in the kind of the theming, so this episode opens up with that theming of the X-Men going on intercontinental jaunts. They're in France. Did you realize that the first time you watched this? Because no. I didn't realize until the second time where they pan past the Eiffel Tower.
I didn't get that until the end of the episode, and I don't know why. Because we open at a graveyard, and it's three soldiers like saluting a grave, and presumably they know Wolverine because they see him also like talking to this grave. But I don't know why they'd have like. I guess it could be a French soldier, but like, why would this dude? Why they wouldn't bury an American soldier in Paris, right?
Yeah, I don't really understand exactly what's going on.
Okay, I assume like one of their French compatriots were buried here, and they've come to like pay their respects on the anniversary of his death.
Yeah,
and,
but Duke, the Holland Commando or whatever,
sure,
buried here, they just bury you where you land. That's how they did in World War II. Like wherever you fell, that's where you got buried. The entirety of the Louvre is a fucking graveyard nightmare. So Wolverine is coming to yell at a grave.
Yes.
Those guys are coming to salute a grave. Wolverine wants to scream at one and brandish and threaten it.
And he says that we don't know who this is. It's Andrew Cocteau.
Cocteau is how they pronounce it every single time, which makes me think of a foot with dicks instead of toes. Can you imagine having 5 dicks instead of 5 toes?
Can you imagine those shoes that have those like sandals that have like the toes, but instead they're just penises?
Just open it up and they're just Jesus
God,
Christ.
it's so gross.
Just like 5 condoms hanging off the tip of your stocking.
Sorry, baby, you missed the pinky toe. You got to keep working.
No, each one has its own chamber, so like that'd be amazing. It's like you have like an orgasm feel like if it happened to your foot.
I don't know, man.
You don't know?
I don't know. I've never experienced an orgasm with my foot. Let me look around and see if there's anybody. Nope, I'm here alone. There's nobody I can ask that. So
I think that if there's transhumanism, like if we actually enter into the future and it's not a dystopia, if it's there's actually that kind of stuff, that would be a real fun way to do science, like where it's like you could have these implants or whatever that can like turn different parts of your body to have the capability of orgasms like that.
Oh, absolutely. That's way better than gun for a hand, which is what I commonly see.
Yeah,
right?
Which is what most people do. Like you imagine the future, it's like, oh, we're going to have guns for hands. Well, what if instead of having guns for hands, you had penises for hands and they could orgasm?
Well, then Gary, no work would get done. Exactly. We would all be having orgasms.
Yeah. Why is your utopia contain work? And So, and I understand that there's a such thing like some women can have full body orgasms, et cetera, et cetera. Don't at me.
Sting, stay out of my mentions, please.
Yeah,
I don't need you. I don't need you up in here.
So he's yelling at the grave. Says, you old man who took the joy of Paris from me. Like, what does that mean? And then we flash back to like, hey kids, Paris, 1942. Nazis have taken over, and this episode is full of like straight up Nazis, like not Hydra agents.
Not Hydra agents,
yeah, just Nazis. Like there's
no insignia,
Nazi symbols in this.
Like there's no,
there's no swastikas, but there's iron crosses.
Yeah. But so it's a weird blend where they're obviously trying to like tame it down for the Saturday morning audience, but at the same time, like clearly they're Nazis. Captain America is fighting them. Like this is who he fights on a regular basis.
Yeah. He calls like real thick German accents. Like it's very Nazi.
I mean, Wolverine or Logan calls them goose steppers constantly. Like, I mean, it's overt.
What did I step on a goose stepper? So Wolverine is in his burglar outfit going across the roofs. He falls down and drops a rock on a Nazi's head. Oops, this is before Wolverine was good.
Yeah, this is before he learned how to do a good job. Also, Wolverine is narrating all of this. Like, present day Wolverine is narrating this. So he's like, and I was going across the rooftops. And I'm like, who are you talking to,
talking
dog?
To the grave.
Like, are you talking to Andrew Cocteau? Like, that's weird.
He's talking to somebody at an unrelated funeral. Like, so somebody's like aunt died of cystic fibrosis, and Wolverine draws him aside and be like, "Let me tell you a story.
Let me tell you a story about World War II, or the big one, as Duke calls it earlier." But he's there to meet a contact. He's got like a secret agent contact who is this woman named Justine. They have the greatest like exchange of passcodes, and I think where Logan responds with,
"But the eyes of liberty never sleep,"
which, excuse me, Logan?
He thinks that when somebody goes to sleep, just their eyes are sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. Like, your whole body is still awake and fighting. I'm just sleeping with my eyes.
It's not liberty never sleeps. So Justine shows up here, and the young French woman. Mm-hmm. Gonna be kind of our love interest for this, sorta.
Which is weird. Maybe? And like not really, but also kinda like she kisses him on the cheek, and he's like holding her face, and I'm like, who are these people? You just met him.
So she takes him to Happy Sawyer, who is a guy. Apparently, it's not like a Happy Hogan's like ancestor or something. I don't know.
Only his friends call him Happy.
Ancestral first name.
It's Captain. It's Captain Sawyer to you.
Only in Marvel comics do people have the first name Happy for some reason. I don't know.
Well, that's an Iron Man thing too, right?
Yeah. It's Iron Man's little funny. It's John Favreau.
Yeah. Is his name really Happy Hogan? I'm sorry. I thought you were making like a Hogan's Heroes joke or something. I didn't know where you were going with that.
Happy Hogan is Iron Man.
That dude's name is Happy Hogan. Are you fucking kidding me?
Hell yeah, dude. I can't believe I get to be the person to reveal this to you.
I'm sad
now. I hate being distracted during this thing. It happens sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm watching the thing. This guy, Captain Sawyer, comes in, looks like an old man, lays out this map to explain that they're going to save Andre Cocteau from this castle. This man de-ages about 20 years because of this animation.
This happens constantly. In this season, man. It's so weird.
People are aging in and out of middle age, like in a way that must be a terrible strain on their bones. Like, he turns into an 18-year-old with a gigantic body and then turns back into an old buff man. Like, it keeps happening back and forth.
I want to mention this plan, too, is to, like, break into this secret castle, and Happy tells him, like, hey, you either need to grab him and bring him back or deal with him or take care of him, implying, like, Wolverine's going to kill him. And I'm only going to bring that up because it's going to play into the end part of this episode, which sounds like it's just a weird thing to tell Wolverine to do. But he also tells...
we have to deny him to the Nazis. The Nazis can't have him.
True.
Here's the idea.
We also tell Logan that he has some backup on this mission, but he's really going to like this guy. And I haven't seen Wolverine so happy to be with another man since Morph.
You know that this is actually Morph this whole time, right? There's a post-credits stinger, and Wolverine can smell him, and that's why Wolverine's so into it. He's just like, that's my boy.
We're going to put it together a group of people with unique abilities. One of them can turn into anything and make Wolverine laugh.
With unique ability. We're going to get you a backup person with unique ability. I like the sound of that. So these soldiers are going to summarily execute a French boy for stealing a baguette. Of course he is stealing a baguette.
Of course.
And Wolverine pops out and kicks them all to death. Not popping claws, which ends up being important. This is pre-claw Wolverine. The Wolverine is about to get back up, like his punches didn't take, and who saves him but Captain America. And this he's just this point you have. I mean, you brought it up earlier, but just like Captain America is walking around Nazi-occupied France, dressed in the brightest, like most patriotic costume you ever can. I mean, dressed up as a flag.
Dressed up as a fucking flag. He's cosplaying the American flag, which is something that I don't think Captain America would do in 2018, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Oh, yeah. At least not in this situation. Like, his costume still looks pretty, Captain America. I like Captain America, but largely because of the movies.
Yeah.
I never really liked him very much in the comics. And, like, here he's an idiot. Like, there's no reason for him to be dressed up like this. Like, Wolverine is not wearing his yellow costume. Like, he's wearing, Black Burglar costume.
Yeah, he looks like he's doing some
he's
black
stealth.
bag shit because he's doing some black bag shit, which I guess they're just like,
X-Force costume.
Also just, send Captain America in the bright blue with the red and white and blue shield tipped up in there too.
Yep. So they make their way to the mountain. The one thing they do a unique thing where Captain America throws his shield back and it does a camera wipe.
Oh
to
my
the
god! The
really
camera
fun
wipes. They're really jumping into this. They're just going.
The page wipes and camera wipes. Very good. So they go to the mountain, and how long? Like, this feels like Beast is explaining something to us because they spent a long time on this like claw gear.
Yes.
Scene of them like hanging out, talking about claws, hinting about claws. Like, he gets out those kind of claws that you use to shred pork shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have this like little set of attachable claws that you
it's
can use
literally
to
the claws
pork.
that I'm wearing in my profile picture on daysoffuturecast.com right
yes.
now.
Like,
I'm not kidding. Like, it's that one.
And there's a part like it's like a blink and you miss it thing, but in my file it's about 721 where they all kind of like wave their super sharp claws around wildly to test them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah, I love this scene.
Standing a couple feet apart, just going.
That's what you do. Like, when have you ever put something like the moment that you hold like 3 pencils in your hand, like they're claws, right? Like, you immediately do all of those gestures. Like, you just start waving your hands like you're trying to play a game on the Kinect. It's like you're just waving your arms around. Something register for me. Something.
I brought a new invention from America, Wolverine. It's called the Microsoft Kinect.
We're gonna hang out here for a little bit. Number one, like no, just normal climbing gear. Like, we have to use weird like Wolverine claws. I don't get that.
Well, because here's the thing, like, just ergonomically, right? Like, if you were to punch into a wall, your fist is facing the wall to climb. Whenever you're climbing, your palm is facing the wall, not your knuckles, which like so you can use a grip. This feels like this would just tear your wrist off. Like, doesn't it seem like you would end up at the top of this with like crippling arthritis and carpal tunnel? And would not be able to fight any Nazis,
and possibly with a broken fucking wrist too. I mean, like, what are your feet doing during all of this? Like, you're not. This is, and I know they're just doing it so that Wolverine has claws, right? Like,
it's just foreshadowing, so we can, it's supposed to be cute.
Yeah, but it's just preposterous that he's like, especially with the modern day Wolverine, like we all know that he had claws at this point in his life, which I'm not going to get in. I don't really care about the consistency there, but it's so.
Well, he didn't have the metal claws at this point.
No, but he had his bone claws, like, so presumably he could use his bone claws for this, right? That would work.
Yeah, and just they immediately break, and he just screams for the rest of the episode.
Warren Ellis's X-Men, the animated series.
I love this image too of Captain America with Wolverine claws. It's so weird.
It's so bizarre.
It's such a weird idea.
And let's talk about Wolverine throwing a bunch of shade at Captain America for his outfit. He's like, "Where did you get that? Get up!"
They seem like they're just giving each other shit in a very cute way to me. That is like, just again, you mentioned him having fun as if Morph were about. Like, this is just like Wolverine having a nice time. Like, they just kind of give each other shit, but there's this mutual respect. Like, they love each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Instantly.
This is like, a buddy cop show, Carrie. This is a buddy cop episode. Like, this is basically what Lethal Weapon was based on, right? Like, this is
it's very like cute and pure, I think. So they climb up the mountain, giving each other shit. And this is where Wolverine, in a way, like, this happens a couple times. This happens in that Sinister episode where like they hint at things for the audience and then like kind of wink, because Wolverine's fighting with his claws for, the first time, apparently, even bone claws, whatever. And he's just like, I like this. I can get used to this. There's a lot of those little winking nods.
I can't wait for my mind to be erased and I get tortured for 20 years and somebody pours adamantium bones and gives me these 3 claws. This is going to be really nice if they can bring up this memory for me.
This is like he wished on a monkey's claw, and he's just like, I wish I could have these all the time. Like, I wish these seem great. And then just, Dr. What is it? Cornelius is just like, that can be arranged.
Let me think of how I could do that badly.
Yeah. When they get inside the house, they invite some Nazis, and they get in. Captain America pushes a door open with his shield in like the dumbest fucking way.
But the reason that he pushes the door open is because Wolverine points it out and says,
"Try this one. Smells like fear."
And when they go inside, they find, the doctor they're looking for, but like surrounded by Nazis and a giant robot of someplace.
Yes. He's building an M-Boss from a Wolfenstein. Like he's building a gigantic, like, cause he's got, chain guns for arms. He's got like a little like section in his head where Hitler could ride. Like he's building like literally the M-Boss from Wolfenstein 3D.
I'm into it.
And Cocteau doesn't want to go.
No, he's just like, you don't understand. You don't understand. I can't go with you. And he's like, they're like, no, we're the good guys. So Wolverine just like does the sleeper hold on him, and it goes instantly to sleep. Is this like the thing that Spock does or whatever? Like, is this the go to sleep pinch? Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Knowing what we know, that Cocteau is a double agent. Don't you think that he could wink or something here, or don't you think that somebody, if not Wolverine, Captain America should be smart enough to know that maybe something they don't know everything here?
Yeah, I mean that whole twist, like the twist that we're going to find out, which is that he was a double agent the whole time, and because is the reason that he calls like the Nazis on him now, right? Like he chips the alarm so that they're just surrounded by Nazis, and it's just kind of like it's just a little too much. It works. Like I think it ultimately works out because like Wolverine is in so much pain about this one betrayal 50 years ago and not all of the rest of his life of torture that he has to go to France and yell at the dude's gravestone. Okay, now that I say it out loud, Gary, it doesn't really sound that reasonable. Maybe I was wrong.
Oh my God! They call the Nazis on them. They surround them. Captain America, they end up surrendering. Right? Red Skull shows up. There is a very funny thing that shows up. A Red Skull puts his arm around Cocteau and just looks like a normal dude, kind of explaining something to a buddy. Like it looks like Cocteau is going to get a divorce, and Red Skull has been through all that before. And Red Skull is explaining that like maybe while it'll hurt now, and you're going to miss your old bed, and you're never going to stop thinking about it, but at some point, you're going to move on. You're going to meet somebody else, and you're going to start living your own life. Like time heals all wounds. Let's go bowling. Like there's a still shot I have right now at 10 minutes and 21 seconds. That is the funniest fucking shit because the Red Skull, which I don't think we've ever talked about him on this show, I think is the grisliest design of a mainstream like Marvel character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like he just looks like a blood covered skull. I used to have like a Halloween decoration. I still kind of do this, but it will have like skull and macabre Halloween style decorations I keep around my room because I'm a secret goth. And because I love skulls. And I had one that was a Halloween, like red blood covered skull. That was like one of the grossest looking things I had in my home. And Red Skull is that all the time, except it talks and is a Nazi. Like it is like the darkest like character. And here he is just being like, listen, it's tough now, but let's go get some chicken wings. They got mozzarella sticks. It's happy hour. Like we'll be okay, buddy. And Dr. Cocteau was like, all right.
They look like they're in a like a commercial about like men's erection problems, and like one dude is telling the other like just try this, man, and the other guy's like shyly smiling like I guess I do need it.
Yeah, I if it happened to you, it could happen to me, I guess. This isn't so bad. I'll ask my doctor about it.
Does Red Skull like I'm not very familiar with Red Skull. Like my probably. Like just from that
There's
first
two words there, the trail of breadcrumbs that describe almost everything you need to know about him.
Red and Skull.
Red. Yeah.
But does he always just wear a giant green jumpsuit? Or is this specific? Because he's just wearing a green outfit. Like there's no skull. You would expect Red Skull to have a belt with a Red Skull belt buckle, right? Like he's not even wearing that.
A Nazi symbol.
Or that.
He usually doesn't wear a jumpsuit. He usually wears like a soldier's uniform, like a commanding Nazi's uniform. So yeah, not wearing that for some reason. They put him he's like his onesie, the Red Skull onesie.
Don't you dare pee in this again, Red Skull.
Got a little flap in the back in case he has to shit.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
This is a prospector.
So Red Skull takes these dudes to the torture chamber and straps Captain America down on like a wooden plank and then hangs Wolverine up in the air, which I guess it would be torture for anybody but a superhuman.
Well, it's significantly the better way to kind of restrain him because Captain America has super strength and these leather straps should not do shit. They do somehow, but he's able to hold him down with 3 belts and that neutralizes the greatest American patriot of all time.
And so Captain America, this scene, Gary, I am so astounded by this scene. Captain America says, I wish I could get out of here. If only I had my shield, I could do it. So Wolverine says,
better get ready, Glory Boy.
And
yeah, I feel like we're of a certain generation where like when we notice like homoeroticism and things, like I tend to comment on it.
Sure.
And it's not because I think it is bad by any means. I just think that it is funny that there's unintentional eroticism of any kind, right? Like when Gambit says something suggestive to a lady, we talk about it as well. It's not about it being homoeroticism, it's accidental eroticism. This is some real accidental eroticism. Like the enthusiasm in which Wolverine says that sounds like so like, it is some accidental eros.
If we were a different kind of podcast, like if we were both maybe 10 or 15 years younger and doing this show, we would have like elaborate ships about Wolverine and Captain America and Wolverine and Morph.
Yes.
Like that would be what this podcast is about. So
yeah. The thing that would be that they actually secretly, the subtext is that they do have sex and we're just not talking about it.
Constantly having sex off screen.
Yeah. And I don't think I just think it's kind of funny that they're accidentally erotic. There probably is a podcast out there that actually explores them as a gay couple, but that's,
sure.
I'm less interested in that. So he swings back and forth, jumps up, falls off his restraint.
Well,
kind of fall.
No, hold on, because this is. I want to go through this step by step because it's so fucking ridiculous. Okay. He's swinging around. Somehow he kicks the shield, which bounces off of a wall, and then comes back and cuts the ropes. And then as he's falling,
with his feet.
Yeah.
And if you look at the establishing shot, he's not only is he far away from it, he's not on the right plane as it. Like he has to. It's not on the XY axis that he'd have to be on to go grab that. It's off to his right. So he swings back and forth, grabs it with his feet. This is a superhuman maneuver. There's a shot at 10 minutes and 56 seconds of Captain America looking at this with awe of him doing it. It's so good.
This is I like the Red Skull too. Like this must be his first time that he's ever captured a superhero because he just left all their superhero gadgets right next to him in the torture chamber.
Next to them.
Dude, put those in a locker somewhere. Like you don't have to just leave those things hanging around.
You also kill these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, not to tell you how to do your job, but Captain America just staring at him with his mouth open. It's extremely good.
It's not, Gary. It's not extremely good at all.
Yeah, it's very funny. That's what Wolverine's putting back in this backpack. Like, I don't know what's up with this backpack. It's so important. Because do we ever see what's inside that?
No, not at all. I was assuming it was climbing gear for the mountain, but
nope.
No, I was wrong. Apparently, it's maybe it's like extra claws for Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
They confront Red Skull and Cocteau, who is putting the finishing touches on their robot, and of course they call more Nazis. And this is kind of interesting, because we have literally never seen anybody fire a gun before. But all of these Nazis like pick up guns, and because it's Captain America, he just has a shield and he doesn't have to worry about.
Yeah. Well, we've seen blasters, but these are military rifles.
These are like shooting bullets, though, right? Like it's not. Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Like, I wonder how the standard and practice thing worked with that, because like obviously you can't have energy weapons in World War II, right? Like without like a whole lot of more explaining. So
yeah. Wolverine and Captain America's move is essentially to jump off the stairs and kind of land near the Nazis. And then when they do so, the Nazis all fly away like bowling pins.
That's what Nazis do. That's what they're good at.
That's their action scene. And this is like, this big fight is almost a good fight, except for all the times where they just do that move where they get close to the bad guys and the bad guys just fly off in every direction. It happens multiple times during this fight.
I don't think any of this fight is particularly great. Like we have this shot of Wolverine at one point, like standing in a crowd of almost I said zombies, standing in a crowd of Nazis, and like presumably he's beat them all up using these giant unretractable claws on his hand, but they're all just like rubbing their head like they got bashed in. And I'm like, he must be really bad with these claws that he didn't stick a single fucking Nazi. There should be blood
at the back of the claws
everywhere. This should be the movie Logan right now, right?
They're all fine too. They're like, they're rubbing their heads. Captain America at the same time fights Red Skull, and Red Skull is not a good hand-to-hand fighter in this. And Captain America kind of toys with him, even though there are guys with guns everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Red Skull's big move is to knock over scaffolding upon Captain America, which Captain America steps backwards to avoid, until eventually Cocteau gives him the remote mega robot Nazi thing and brings it to life.
Yeah, and
so it's going to be Captain America and Wolverine versus a gigantic robot.
I love the fact that this is remote control operated, by the way, first off. I just want to talk about that. And I love the fact that Red Skull is very bad at it because it immediately starts shooting at all of the other Nazis in the room. And Captain America has to jump
everything
over and block him.
He is trying to essentially kill everyone. Kind of shades of Lord Magnus or whatever in the last one, killing all of his men. Like, once super villains get their upper hand, they don't know what to do with it. In this cartoon, the robot is kind of being portrayed as kind of invincible, but Captain America definitely slices off his hand with his shield, which then immediately grows back for the next scene, and then immediately is gone through an animation error. It has no hands, and it's walking around, kind of flailing around wildly, and they kind of team up to take care of it, which involves Wolverine opening the door to its weak spot, jumping up on it like a sentinel and opening up its chest. It has a little panel to its robo guts.
And so Captain America throws a shield through this panel, and then green blood starts coming out of its arms and its chest.
It was a person.
What?
He's pan over to Fabian Cortez, like, juicing up a guy to make him into a megabot.
This is a very complicated robot that just has no other abilities besides 2 guns for arms. Like, this is very rudimentary.
1 gun for an arm. Yeah, the other one was just a hand.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's not even...
it's half as effective as you thought. This was going to be what was going to win the war for them, as long as nobody thought to shoot it in the chest or arms or head.
Sure. Phase 2 was to make it bulletproof, I guess, right?
Yeah. So Cocteau and Red Skull escape, and Captain America tries to go chase after them, but Wolverine saves his life. He's going to get the roof collapse on him. They have to get out of here because the castle's falling apart because of some bullets, I guess.
Yeah, of course. So, well, I mean, this robot shot up the whole place, right? Like, just like Hank McCoy broke that temple in the last episode we talked about.
Yeah, the temple is one big room. This is a castle. Like, it just feels like it was a load-bearing room somehow.
Why did you put all of your munitions in the safe?
All your munitions and support structs.
I love that they chase them down. Like, Red Skull is in this plane with Cocteau, and then they run after the plane, which is one of the dumbest things that TV shows ever do, and they do it all the time. But they run towards the plane, catch up to it, grab onto the wings, and then immediately fall off into a goddamn hayride. This is like they Assassin's Creed off. Like, it's like they synchronized this area, found all the side missions, and then dropped into the thing of hay at the bottom. What the fuck is this?
Which immediately starts rolling downhill.
Yeah, for like a couple of minutes.
For a long time down this hill, like they're gonna fall off this cliff. It's very cute. Like, what a quinky dink that they happen to land there. And then who shows up but the Howling Commandos? And Logan's like, oh, you just let Cocteau go. Cap's like, well, at least we took out the robot,
And Wolverine is madder at this than anything he's ever been mad at in his entire life.
He's extremely mad, and a lot of bad things have happened to Wolverine and his various brides.
This seems like a minor thing in a war he probably didn't really care about.
Yeah, this is like, this is extremely mad. Like, somebody cut off Morph's set at the open mic. He's super mad, and we think that's going to be the end. So we go back to the grave where who shows up? It's that lady from the beginning, and Justine, and she says, like, actually, Cocteau was my father. He was a carefully placed agent.
Yeah, he spent his entire time in the war carefully sabotaging all of the Nazis' plans. Like, he even stopped them from creating an atomic bomb. He stopped them from making some sort of other super weapon or superhuman or something. And yeah, like, this is fine. Like, I like this actually a lot. Like, this works for me because it's just weird.
It's a fine twist, other than your point earlier that she said, hey, take him dead or alive. So if Wolverine,
that's what I wanted to bring
like,
her
father lost the coin flip and Wolverine decided to give into his animal urges, which are a huge part of his character. This is before he became Weapon X'd, so he's not quite as beast mode, but like saying like, hey, we can't let Red Skull have this scientist. We have to sink the plane. He's going to make more robots. Like, that very easily could have gone that way and her father could have died. But if telling him, hey, we have to, because it's just assuming that he'd be such a shitty actor, being like, hey, you have to rescue him. It's going to make his defection seem legit. However, don't hurt him. He's actually one of ours. Do you think that would have jeopardized the mission? was the idea that like Wolverine and Captain America would get caught and tortured. No, they get caught and put next to their equipment.
Exactly.
You know,
they literally did get caught and they didn't get tortured. So I don't understand what the concern here was. I guess that's probably good Black Ops though. Like but I mean, like this is also a Saturday morning cartoon, so I don't really know how to feel about any of this.
Yeah.
So.
it seems very risky to me.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to talk about, because we're not done yet. I want to talk about this last scene because, oh my God. She tells him like, hey, I know a little bistro around the corner. Let's go get a drink together because, you know, she's probably like 65, 70 years old now.
Yeah, she hasn't aged either. Let's point out the fact that she looks exactly, not only like a lot like Jean Grey, but also like a, like a redhead, like she's his type, but also is the same age that she was in the war. And we know this isn't right after the war, which was my first thought, right? Except because he has claws and the old soldiers were old. Mm-hmm. So for some reason in the 50 years since this has happened, like she looks almost exactly the same.
Yep. Good job, girl.
Very, very
You're doing good. You put in work.
She's doing great.
Staying out of the sun, using some lotion, exfoliating a whole lot. Good work.
They're gonna, and there's this romantic tension. Like they're gonna go bone down to this bistro. He says there's something I have to do first. Gets all angry.
I love this. I love this so fucking much.
Claws up his tombstone. And then the big reveal, and she's like, oh, ha, ha, ha. The big reveal is that he's written the word hero in it with his claws in like a teenager might write the name of his band font. You know, like it's just this like real like edgy font desecrated her father's grave. And she's cool with it and is going to reward him with baguettes and with sex, apparently. So.
Yeah, this is incredibly disrespectful. Like, I cannot imagine why you would think you had the right to carve something on somebody else's grave, Logan. What the fuck are you what the fuck are you doing with this? This is so mind-bogglingly bad. I can't even handle it.
Like, Logan, you like maybe you've been holding it, and also. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, your memory has been erased, so you shouldn't remember this at all.
Yeah, you're also, how do you know any of this?
Are you the person who has the relationship with this person to where you should be even having that much respect, right? Like, everything good about this person you just learned. Do you go through the list of people who have won the Nobel Prize and go around carving things on their tombstones? You're like, it's not your father, man. Like, it's not, this would make sense if this was like somebody who he had a history with before the 2 seconds they interacted with, in which the guy was just kind of nervous about around him. You know,
he's just waiting for Jordan Peele to die so he can go write Get Out should have won an Oscar on Jordan Peele's grave.
Like, this is his primary communication method, is grave vandalism.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Super goofy. It makes like a fine like old shot. It almost feels like if it was more about something in some way, like this would have a little bit more emotional impact. It's still a pretty fun episode though. Like it's fun and pretty good, I think, as well. Like I like seeing Wolverine's previous life. I like seeing Captain America.
Yeah, Cap was good.
I like this episode.
The action was okay. Like a lot of the fight scenes weren't great, but like seeing the shield zip around is always a fun time.
Oh yeah.
I feel like this whole episode was meant to be done like at the time that Wolverine was kind of battling his anger issues, like last season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That seems like it would have been the appropriate. Like I remember this, and also it makes me mad. Like I'm dealing with a whole lot of my shit. Like would have made a lot more sense, and that could be the case because again, as we keep mentioning, all the production problems with this. With the end of the series was, everything was out of order. They were getting episodes, that were way, way late. So who knows when this was actually supposed to be in the continuum. But overall, like I dig this. Like it's not bad. There's some really, really funny lines on it. Like, try this door. It smells like fear. It's really fucking great to me. Because the response to that, like I really want Captain America just to look at him and go, no fear. Just walk in.
Yes.
But yeah, so the end of it is kind of dumb and in an X-Men animated series kind of way. So I'm into it for the most part.
Yeah. It's a good. I would argue significantly better than Hidden Agendas.
Oh boy, this get us into it. Read us the description so we can start talking about it.
When the army learns of Sam Guthrie's cannonball power, they try to enlist him in their ranks. So it's accurate. It's sure underselling it actually. Like, slightly more than that happens. What a weird time to be introducing a new mutant.
Yeah, at the end of your
this is the kind of stuff the X-Men should be doing, but like, yeah. The penultimate episode to go ahead and have to introduce Cannonball. And like, I like Cannonball. I think it's cool that Cannonball is showing up in this show. I wish it was an earlier season so he didn't look like shit. But like, I like Cannonball.
Yeah, he looks fine. Like he doesn't look fine, but he is fine in this episode. Like, and his powers come across real easy, real well. They're dealing with some like straight up human versus mutants, and like the way that mutants are feared and hated in the world, which plays into very strongly into the X-Men's themes. Like this should work, but god damn, does it take fucking forever to get through? It's
really boring and dumb instead.
Yeah,
like it seems like it should work, instead it is very boring and dumb. So we start out with coal miners. Trump has brought back the jobs.
Yep.
And these miners are digging around in Kentucky, and a cave-in starts because mines are actually horrific. It's a terrible job. Like, not only should you don't want to bring this job back, it is awful, and we should automate it because it's scary and in a way that isn't a capitalist nightmare.
Did you get it all out of your system, comrade? You're good?
Yes. Yeah, I just want to make sure to cover all the bases. Yeah.
Sorry.
Which is true. Like, I don't want Jeff Bezos to invent a mining machine and then just make all the money from it. But also, this doesn't seem like something humans should do, right? Like,
no, not 100%. Like, that's sending humans into deep, dark holes in the ground to make the holes unsafe. It seems like a terrible plan from the beginning.
Like, these are perfectly safe holes.
They were continually making worse.
The name of the mining company is Lumberland. You are not in that business, my friend. Like, there's a good business that could be called Lumberland. They deal with one thing. You are not dealing with that.
LLC. That's what that is. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you, but yeah, mines are completely unsafe. This one starts to collapse, and Sam Guthrie's dad gets trapped. So Sam gets the opportunity to become nigh invulnerable while blasting, which he never says in this episode, and I don't understand why.
He doesn't say it like that. He does say that nothing can hurt him, but he says it in like a non-catchphrase way, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't really get, because somebody like that fan service could work for somebody.
Oh yeah,
sure. You know, there's like a gas leak that's happening here as well, which starts a fire, which makes it seem very dangerous to light your lower torso on fire.
Also,
in that situation, right?
How come y'all are using candles, dog? Like, what are you doing? Why are you using flame-based lighting in this gaseous?
They go in on a roller coaster. Yeah, they go. There's enough technology, so it's not like the weird way that sometimes the X-Men cartoon you don't know what century anything is in. They go in on a roller coaster cart with like multiple seats, and then inside they're using candles. So pretty silly. This is a silly thing to be bothered by, but I don't know why Sam Guthrie and his sister aren't blonde. Like, it seems like it would have been an easy thing to do right, I
don't get this either. This seems like an animation problem, right? Like they probably just didn't include it or something. Remind me. I know Paige is a mutant too. Remind me what her power is. I can't remember for some reason.
So her name is Husk, and what she does is she can rip off her skin and have kind of like she's a human loot box. She can kind of have a random skin underwear under it, which can have powers. Like, she's pretty ill-defined. Like, sometimes the skin that she has underwear there, she'll have like super strength, or it'll be super invulnerable, but she doesn't know. And the most, like, my strongest Husk memory is I've talked about before how I read the Generation X comic. It was the first X-Men comic I got on the ground floor with. And Jubilee is the point of view character for that comic, and she's at the new school. And Husk jogs around the mansion, and then she's all sweaty and gross. And Jubilee is like, ugh, you're all gross. And she goes, just wait a second. And she rips off all her skin to create new skin instead of showering. Like, she like tears off her skin. That is a time saver I can get.
That is a life hack I can get behind. I am into that.
He said, what would you do with the skin, man? Like, can you imagine like the just abattoir, like the dumpster behind her house and the smell that came from it? That was like, here's like 2 weeks. Like, I don't know how often your garbage gets picked up. You don't live in a hippie city, so it's probably once a week. In Portland, garbage gets picked up every other week. I'm just imagining 2 weeks of discarded skins in the trash can, and just being the grossest thing.
Presumably, like Stormy's using that discarded skin for fertilizer for her little atrium upstairs, right?
Yeah. So that would be that's a good use for it, because it is kind of a renewable resource, right? Like. Like it or not, Husk is a source of unlimited skin, for what that's worth.
Honestly, she shouldn't be a superhero. She should be an energy plant. Like, we should be taking advantage of this. This is irresponsible.
She could be any number of things. I think I don't know what her current status is in the comics. I should look, because no one's ever done anything really good with Husk. Like, she's like Cannonball has gotten a lot of great character development. Like I think Cannonball has done a lot of really cool stuff. Huska's never really been properly utilized. So they, everyone thinks he's a hero, right? Like you expect this is just to be like, oh, we discovered you're a mutant and run you out of town. But for now, everyone likes you. Or likes Sam. And they go back and everyone's kind of proud. You know, he's telling his sister about the rescue. Mom is really worried about it, but it's not like, you know, they got ran out of town here. Which is, you know, is going to happen.
Yeah, everybody, like the interesting thing that happens here is that everybody reacts to this like he's a hero. Like he has saved his dad, he saved his dad's coworker. Everybody knows he's a mutant, so they're not like shocked and scared when he shows up when like his entire lower body is a rocket. And he's like, like nobody is tripping out about this at all. His mom is just concerned, rightfully so, about like, I don't want both of you working in that mine. Like I could have lost my husband and my son today. That's a shitty situation. Please get a job at Circle K. Go work at Target.
By far, the most dangerous thing that happens in this episode is mining in general.
Absolutely.
Like it has nothing to do with mutants, but mines are the threat. Like this guy should have shown up and tried to eliminate mines instead of mutants. Mr. Kirkland, who shows up, it's like you could have made this not just a new guy. Too. Like this feels like it's a pilot for another series or something.
I didn't really understand. Is Mr. Kirkland like, because there's several of these like military dudes that go around. Is he all of the dudes, or is there a specific? I couldn't tell any of them apart. So like the guy that comes to visit, is he also the guy that's like spreading the bad rumors about Sam around town? Like I don't. Yes. There's some weird shit that goes around in this episode, and I guess he's the same dude, but the animation is so bad I can't tell.
So he is, he looks like he keeps morphing his face, but he is a government agent who is essentially trying to recruit Sam Guthrie. We never really know what he represents, like what exact government agent he represents. But when he can't, that's when he does all the shenanigans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He and his shenanigans are going to be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it would have been very easy to make him represent something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like a rogue X Factor recruiter, you know, or just something that, you know, the government was recording, or like somebody from Genosha. Bada bing,
yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, done. You know, just any number of things. We cut over to the mansion where new bad, like Gambit, like weird replicant Gambit, Skrull Gambit, is playing pool with Rogue. Rogue doesn't look very good in the new design either, man.
No,
like, there's not enough line. Oh, sorry. There's just like not enough lines in her face or something like that. Like she just looks too young. Like she's like 11-year-old Rogue.
Yeah, everybody is skewed really young until like they have enormous boobs, right? Like that's the problem with this animation style, is that everybody looks young and also has enormous boobs. This whole scene is very confusing for me.
What's happening?
So Beast comes in. I want to go through this.
The mail.
Beast is here for a mail call. Yeah, because everybody has a job in the X-Men. He's looking at a copy of Philologist Quarterly. Which is I had to look up what a philologist is. I can barely say that word, but it's like somebody who studies words. And for some reason, Sam Guthrie is on the cover. And there's an article about him that explains that he saved some people, despite the town being suspicious of his mutant power. Like it outlines all of this, and I'm like,
love it so much.
Who is writing this, and why don't they work for the X-Men?
Can you remember when the X-Men used to learn about missions from, like, you know, their computer and
Cerebro and
stuff?
Maybe?
So Cerebro, it started with Cerebro, then it turned to like this weird, like their crime computer thing that they have in the middle of their briefing room. Then it became just the TV. Now, maybe 6, you know, how long with the lead up time and print and everything, assuming it's a monthly magazine.
It's quarterly.
It's fucking quarterly.
This is 4 months away.
Yeah, Jeremy, 4 months after this happens, so the X-Men have to learn about this because the Beast has a subscription to a Word magazine. I'm dying. Like I can't.
It's just the most ridiculous thing ever. And then it continues to get worse because Rogue gets real excited about this possibility. She's like, I know what we need to do here. We need to send a Southern girl down there because a 16-year-old boy can't resist a Southern girl. And I'm like, what are you doing down there, Rogue?
Are you going is the idea that you're going to go statutorily rape Sam Guthrie? Like, what is the? I'm not trying to make light of that, but like,
no, not at all.
You know. That is the weird tact, is like she's being kind of flirty, and she's doing it to kind of like weaponize it against Gambit too. Like these characters, not only the voice actors change, but the characters are now, again, everyone has been replaced by a Skrull. Like this is the Skrull season. Everyone is evil and weird now. I don't know. Like Gambit wants to go with her too, and she's just like, "What's the matter, sugar?" And just super strange. I dislike it greatly.
So here's what happens after this. I'm going to drop something in the Discord for you because I don't know if
real quick though. Before we get to that too, I just want to make a point that this is treated as a weird thing for a rogue to do a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like this is unusual. What are the X-Men for at this point?
Yeah, what this seems like the only thing that they should be doing, right? This should be what their goal is to go find young mutants that could possibly be in trouble and get them into the X-Men. Like otherwise, what the fuck are they doing?
Why is that's a great picture, by the way. That's a good episode. Thank you.
Well, we gotta talk about it because this is what he says after they talk about the issue of the magazine with Sam Guthrie in it. Like it's a colossal animation mistake because apparently he was looking at Philologist Quarterly, read this article about Sam Guthrie, and then looked down and was like, "Oh, my Philologist Quarterly is here," and then runs off.
He gets 2 copies. But like, just it's so the fact that this is at all treated like not a job for the X-Men is so weird. Like, you can't go do that, Rogue. This is literally what you do. This is all you do. Like, Xavier should have known about this thing because of Cerebro, because there are systems in place, and the whole team should go save this kid and they recruit him to the school because it's a school. Like this is a failure on every single part of what this could be.
Yeah, somebody should be checking in with Xavier because, like, this seems like Xavier. This should be how Xavier forms X-Men teams, right? Like, this should be easy.
Instead, you just play billiards and read magazines all day. Like, this whole season. We didn't really cover it. This season is the X-Men post-retirement.
Yeah, like, they're just chilling.
That's why Wolverine got free to go to France. That's why Jubilee is going on archaeological digs. This is the X-Men retiring.
Rogue's taking a trip down south to Kentucky to hang out with a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, because everybody in the South is the same.
Of course.
Isn't that true, Jeremy? Like if somebody from, I don't know, one of the other monster states came over and said hi to you, wouldn't you be more likely to talk to them?
100. If they have a Southern accent and they're holding like a biscuit in their hand, I'm probably going to be friendly to them. So
yeah, resist a biscuit's charms. It's so dumb. Like nothing makes sense anymore. So we cut over to the
Cumberland General Store. Yeah, where Mr. Kirkland. This is the same dude, right? This is what I was asking earlier. Like I can't tell
one
if
of his
this
agents
is or what. Okay,
it's not the same dude. It's like because he took a phone. And he was like set into plan set in motion the plan.
yeah. Turn on plan high school rumor.
Yeah.
I heard Sam has a small dick. Did you guys hear that too? That's going to make him not want to go to high school anymore.
And then he might join our paramilitary. What? Like, who knows?
Did you guys hear Sam has hair on his butt? Ew.
Sam farts in his sleep. Let everyone know. So he goes in this store and he's just like, someone's talking about crops.
Cows. He had a couple cows.
They're killed. And he's just like, well, you got a mutant around here. Radiation will kill those cows. Essentially trying to turn them against them. We got to this diner scene, which I love, where this fucking like this mulleted guy with the Punisher shirt.
Loving this, by the way.
And the guy comes up, and it's literally like, hello, fellow teens. Like this guy comes up with the mullet, who's I guess works for Mr. Kirkland. It's just like, hey, didn't you know that Sam Guthrie is dating your girl?
Yeah,
and he's just
dating Shannon. And he's like, Shannon told me she was at her aunt's.
Yeah, and this kid is so cut, like his muscles are so like defined.
Oh yeah,
it's really weird.
Have you seen season 2 of Stranger Things yet?
No, I haven't watched that yet.
There's a dude in that show that they introduce as kind of a villain character that is this guy. Mm-hmm. Like he is this dude. I'm full on. It is hilarious. I do want to talk. We haven't really got into it a little bit, but everybody here is talking with Kentucky accents, or probably what they think Kentucky accents are sounding like, and it's excruciatingly bad. Everybody here has the worst accent.
The accents are really exaggerated and really, really terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everyone's doing that. We just when the most normal, like Gambit's going to show up later and has the most normal accent,
which is impressive
of anybody there. Yeah, and it's Skrull Gambit too. It's not even normal Gambit. Rogue shows up and just kind of knocks on Sam Guthrie's house. Zor comes in. They show Sam Guthrie in profile, and this is the first episode. Like all of these episodes have bad animation and proportions, this is by far the worst.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a profile shot. I'm looking at 6 minutes and 31 seconds into this thing. Sam Guthrie's ears are at least half as tall as his head. Like he has these gigantic, like elephant ears here. It is really, really weird.
Right after this, it's going to show them walking together outside where they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue and Sam are talking. And like from far away, Rogue looks relatively normal, and it zooms into her face, and she has weird shaped face, and then it zooms out, and she's totally different again. It's so bad.
It's like a magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps like, yeah. When they zoom in on her face, she doesn't have a nose. Like it's like she just has two vertical lines that kind of suggest a nose, and then when they zoom out, she has one vertical line and then just two nostrils that are very close together to imply like a very small nose, upturned nose, which has never been Rogue's body. His huge broad shoulders, like everything is nothing.
It's so awful and bad. Like it's like somebody, it's like they've never seen anything about the show before or anything other related to the X-Men, like at all.
Or even saw like, so when you make something like this, I imagine you draw a version of the character and then you base all future drawings on that drawing. Right?
You have
like,
a reference. Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the old Rogue, but it could be the Rogue from literally the shot before.
Yeah, it could be the same. It could be the same character from scene to scene. Like I'm not asking too much for that.
Yeah, even or how about this? How about from episode to episode? Or like how about it could be a different Rogue for this whole episode, and you can do a new Rogue next episode. But it doesn't do that. Every single shot, they keep cutting away from her during this conversation with Sam Guthrie. Every time it comes back to Rogue, she looks different.
Yeah, it's like, not great.
Oh my god, it's excruciating.
And this conversation, so we know that Sam Guthrie is like hesitant to go work with Mr. Kirkland. He's like, I don't want to leave home. All my family's here. I don't really know what I want to do.
Yeah,
also,
I
like
get killed in a mine later.
Presumably, like I'm 16 or 17, and that's why like all of these people are making this decision for me, and I'm still living with mom and dad. But whatever. But she's like, Rogue just straight up asked him like, hey, do you want to work in the mines? And he's like, honestly, Rogue, I don't really want to do any fucking thing. And I'm like, same, Sam. I don't want to work either. Give me that basic guaranteed income. I'll just chill.
The nice thing, the nice thing is that Rogue doesn't know anything as bad is happening yet, right? So like Rogue isn't acting irresponsibly. She just like is listening to what Sam wants, and that's the right thing to do. So out of all these actors, like she's the one who is operating in good faith, I feel like.
And she even makes the right response here when he tells her like, "Hey, I've been recruited by this Mr. Kirkland that tells me that he's like some sort of Peace Corps for mutants." And Rogue's like, I'm pretty active in the mutant community, and there's no such thing as that." So she immediately calls Hank and tells Hank about this, and puts Hank on the job of like trying to figure out who the Mr. Kirkland is. Which again, exactly the shit that you should be doing if you're an X-Man.
Yeah. Yep. So Beast can't really kind of track him down. Before that happens, though, we cut over to the train. They took pictures of Rogue and Sam talking. A totally different Rogue again. They cut over to a tank train. The military is operating on a train that is armored up like a tank and is on tracks though. Mm-hmm. So the army operates out of tank train with like the inside of it looks like Mr. Sinister's like Technodrome. Like it is who these people are, what is happening, who knows. They're passing around these pictures of them. Included is that family portrait of the X-Men.
Talked about. Yeah, the same exact one.
Is the military guy the guy who took that?
I don't know. All these guys look the same to me. They could be an army of clones. I have no idea who any of these people are.
It is really weird. Beast can't find anything out about this guy. And at this point too, I'm thinking when I was watching the episodes, like, why is Cyclops and Jean Grey not involved in this? Why are those guys gone? Because when Xavier and Gambit show up and like they're the action team now, show up to deal with Beast, like your heavy hitters are gone. And what I think happened, they get Cyclops back for the last episode, and he's in this one barely. But I think the voice actor just didn't want to do it as much.
Can you blame him? Like, change, but at this point, like you could probably see this was a sinking ship, and I'm sure that dude with all of the problems like had moved on it by that point. Like he probably had another project he was working on. It was like it'd be like we finished Days of Future Cast in 2025, and then like a year later you're like, hey Jeremy, let's do another episode. Let's go ahead and finish it up. And I'm like, got some other shit I'm doing, Gary. Sorry, I'm busy.
Yeah. We'll just get you to do the intro, and then I'll just kind of monologue. You do the intro, and then you go, mm-hmm. And then I just cut that in after everything I say. they decide Gambit is the person to go check out this group. Gambit goes on a roof. He gets out his binoculars, his thiefy binoculars, looks in, stares at somebody sitting back with their hand on their lap watching a newscast. Like he straight up peeps somebody like possibly front rubbing to the news.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like, okay.
CNN gets me horny.
Yeah. Goes up on the roof, finds this place to go into where there's like a camera, like security camera, to break into this thing. When he goes into the door, he is about 3.5 feet tall. Like they stand next to it. He's the size of a door, like a human. He picks up a rock, smashes the camera, goes inside. He is half his height. It is so lazy and bad.
Let's talk about his plan though, to walk straight up to the camera and then throw a card at it to explode it.
Yeah, to let it see him, stare at it, let it identify him, and then destroy it.
And then he walks in
before he goes in.
And then he walks inside. Jimmy's the lock inside, and then he sees like, oh, here's a vent. Should I just carefully remove that from the wall? No, nope. I'm going to explode it because nobody can hear explosions in a building.
He goes through this vent, which turns him back into Small Gambit again. When he hangs out of the vent. Jeremy, I'm like scene by scening this, and it's killing me. Like there's almost too much to talk about of these like Gambit, not only like aging and de-aging, but shrinking, and like he's like Goliath. He's turned into Ant-Man. He's Ant Gambit.
He's Ant Gambit. I love it.
Yeah, Uncle Rogue. So he's just like tiny Gambit sneaks through this vent and comes out. Before using his mutant power to grow back up to normal size. He's only a little bit taller than a couch when he falls out of that vent, man.
Yeah. And of course this is a setup. Oof. Like the military has a bunch of robots that just immediately capture him. And it's funny to me that the military has a bunch of robots but are like still trying to get some mutant shit.
We need a guy who can turn his legs into fire. We're not recruiting any other mutant. We're not trying to recruit the X-Men. We're not trying to recruit any powerful mutants or villains or anything. We need specifically Cannonball.
Absolutely need this like 17-year-old hick from Kentucky so that we can figure out something. I never understood what was going on with this. Like they have like a mutant like in a tank that they're trying to create and like trying to figure out like what his power to control his power or something. And
you know who's going to help that? Cannonball.
Yeah. What?
Or Gambit or like anybody.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, dog. Like I'm just very confused by the whole thing.
Yeah. So they cut away to the Riverdale gang, the same haircut group. All show up where Sam Guthrie was having ice cream with his sister, who is approximately 2 feet tall, and they leave and start pushing him around like, "Hey, you've been messing with our girl." Sam mostly takes this with grace, at least initially. But they knock him down and start actually kicking him, calling him trash, and really beating him up and shit.
Yeah, they're being real assholes to Sam here. Like, yeah. And they note that the Punisher guy was the son of the other dude that Sam just saved. Yeah, like he's just saved your dad, dog. What are you doing?
Why aren't they making fun of him for his ears? Like, I just don't understand. Like, if you're going to make fun of Sam Guthrie, yeah, he just is absolutely inhumanly large ears.
Or his giant flat top. Let's talk about that kid and play cut he's got.
Weirdly, like absolutely right angle drawn with a ruler flat top. And here's the thing. They know he's a mutant. Like, I don't understand why they're not scared of reciprocation at all in this. They have zero fear, and I don't understand it.
It's like if you knew this guy could fly like extremely fast and that he was completely invulnerable while he was doing it, like why would you ever fuck with this dude? Like I just wouldn't mess with him, especially not like this.
Here's the parable, right? Like you Jeremy Greer are a man with a gun, and someone tells me it's like, hey, you know that Jeremy guy? He's been fooling around with your lady, and then I go up to you and start slapping you in the face while you're holding a gun. And then I kick you while you're holding the gun, and I push you on the ground while you're holding the gun, and I spit on you, and I call you trash while you're holding the gun. And then I turn my back on you and leave. Like, that's exactly what these idiot kids did. That makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Because they're trying, you can't, like, have the people are scared of mutants thing in play while people are not scared of mutants, right? Like, part of the theming of this is like, oh, they have this radiation, it'll kill your cow. Like, this is kind of dipping a toe in a mutant paranoia story, but they don't follow through on it at all.
Not in the least. And and like they're close to it here. Like I actually kind of like the idea of like it's a good play for these military people to be like, hey, I want to scare this mutant onto our team. They just don't follow it up because they immediately when we'll get to it eventually, but they immediately fuck it up once he finally does. So like, what are you doing? You could have just kidnapped him at this point. Like, what the fuck? So Sam runs these dudes off the road to like teach him a lesson, and then goes and picks up his sister, and then we cut back to Gambit, who we have the delight of seeing Gambit get his like just a tiny little bit of his hair cut off, Gary.
Yep, he gets a Friar Tuck haircut, kind of.
It's so dumb. And Gary, excuse me. Gambit is just so fucking unconcerned about this. Like the dude is holding a microchip that he's about to put it into his head, and he's like, "Gambit, get an upgrade." What?
Good. Gambit, get an upgrade. No,
you're not. You're getting your head opened, man. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Open your goddamn skull and stick a quarter in it. Like, what are you? Gambit, get an upgrade. Like, he pulls out the drill, like the super drill, and look at, like, unbeknownst to Gambit, right? Like, he gets rescued right at this moment. Like, Beast happens to come in there with his like electromagnetic, like, Professor Xavier uses his psychic powers to destroy the skull drill that Gambit was going to use. They were going to use on Gambit. Like, nothing. Like, I don't even know how this is like written by a Markov chain. Like, I don't know how you even create an episode where this kind of shit happens.
I'm just so happy that Xavier used his powers for once. He actually used it
on technology
while he was. Well, I mean, they explained that he like put the dudes to sleep, right? Like, I don't know why the things start shorting out, but
yeah, I mean, I guess he did put them to sleep, but it looked like he was zapping it.
Oh yeah, they definitely animated it like he was zapping
halfway through the animation.
It's not great. I'm just saying he actually used his power.
Oh my god.
We're still not done with the sabotage Sam plot though, because now the Mr. Kirkland clone is like investigating the mine accident and saying, "Oh yeah, we've seen this before, fellas. The supports were weakened at the molecular level. You got any mutants around here? Because mutants just dissolve wood, I guess, and that's what their mutants do now.
They're termites." So Sam decides to call Kirkland's like, "I'll join up. You've actually scared me." Rogue meets up with a team, is so happy to see Gambit because all of their like will they won't they, like her being kind of sassy, has been forgotten about in this season. Now the people who wrote these episodes got a note that said Rogue is Gambit's boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yes. She even introduces herself as Mrs. LeBeau to Sam. Like, that's what she calls herself.
Yeah, like they got married sometime off screen. Like, Skrulls. They're all fucking Skrulls. Everyone on Earth is a Skrull now.
Only thing that you can
for our
explain this.
Amusement.
Yeah. Ever since the Warleg incident, like this is what happened. People get messed up when you do that.
Yep. Man, what if these are all Phalanx people? Because remember, their plan was just to have everybody go about their business, pretty much. And this is what the Phalanx thinks is their business. Like,
absolutely.
Because it's the 1800s, this mob shows up at Sam's house with torches. I don't even know where you get a torch, but they show up with torches to lynch Sam, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then the X-Men show up to help. The X-Men forget they have powers, including Xavier, who could definitely stop all these people from lynching them, like, instantly.
How great is this dad though? Because Sam Guthrie is like,
yeah,
look, you guys know Sam, you know us. We've worked in your mines, we've shopped at your stores. Those are the real mutants over there. It points out.
Yeah, look over your shoulder. We're not gonna fall for that. And then there's just a bunch of X-Men just standing there.
I just
pretty
love
much in the same
dude.
pose as that picture. Yeah,
I just love it so much because everybody's really there, right? Like it's like they've had the whole. They got the whole team.
Storm. I don't know where Storm's been during these episodes. It's everyone except for her.
Look, I'm not going to wish her on that monkey's claw, okay? Like, I don't, Storm does not need to show up at all.
Oh my god. Okay. So Sam gets on a helicopter, which lands on the roof of military tank train.
Of course.
Gets in, and they're kind of explaining to Sam, so it lands, but then it takes off again. They don't get in the train because he escapes from a helicopter, but it definitely lands on the train. I don't know. They're explaining to her, like, have you seen these mutants? Shows him the picture of the X-Men.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he shows any reluctance, so they open up a fire extinguisher full of red gas to actually take him out.
Yeah, and like they're trying to tell him like, hey, these are terrorists, and these are the people you're gonna help stop. And he's like, that chick was really nice to me. I don't I don't think you guys are terrorists. I'm just gonna leave while you gas me, and just jets and just cannonballs his way out the fucking helicopter.
And this is, it's in comics. It's kind of dumb that Cannonball also has force field power, so like he force fields around himself to not die.
Mm-hmm.
Jets, a bunch of robots come chase him. He lands next to the X-Men, and we get our kind of climactic fight between the X-Men and robots. Government robots. What kind of government? What kind of robots? Who knows? I think that as far as robots in the show go, I think they actually look pretty cool. I like these rounded like designs. They look like Mega Man.
Yeah, they look all right, but like they have flying robots. Like they feel like that could solve the flying robots could solve a lot of their problems for them.
All of their problems. All the robots too are dual wielding guns. They all have pistols. And they're all shooting like pistols. Everything is just very, very weird here.
So Sam lands in the middle of this like confrontation between the townies and the X-Men, and of course there's like a full-on fight starts. The robots start shooting everybody, not just the X-Men, but the X-Men have to take care of this. I think the fight scenes here are pretty good. Like the animation is still kind of bad, but like the showing off powers and stuff is a lot of fun.
It's short.
Yeah, it doesn't last very long.
They send out they send out their guy who they had in the vat.
This is the highlight of my fucking week right here, Gary. I love this. This feels like something from a totally different movie. This feels like something from like I can't even like a weird comedy version of the X-Men happened, and I can't believe that this is even happening right now.
Yeah, they send out a lunar lander with like Hulk/Abomination in it, who claps his hands, destroys a shed, takes 2 steps, falls, and turns into a person. so
good.
Like, the amount of time his rampage, like I just timed it, lasts 15 seconds, and he has 30 seconds of screen time.
This was their secret weapon. Like they're watching this on they're watching this on some sort of video camera, and like they're like, oh wow, that didn't work. I guess we gotta retreat, everybody, get back on the train.
They retreat on a train.
Yeah,
like you get in the train and go full speed ahead. I bet you everybody knows where that train's going.
It's going down the track.
How would we track this? Like, how would we even track them? How can they can get away? Why did you put the military on a super train here? I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. Like, again, it's like written by a scrawl. Like somebody's like, oh, they get away in a vehicle. Let us access our list of human vehicles. Boat, ship, helicopter, train, and then they use the train. And I don't really understand. So Sam Guthrie goes and smashes into the train, which is like more powerful than he's been.
Yeah, that seems like
the entire time.
65 mile an hour train movement to 65 mile an hour cannonball would cause somebody some problems, but everybody just gets out of the train. And one of the military dudes is like, Hodge was right about the X-Men, which I guess is referring to Cameron Hodge, who we haven't seen in a while since the Warlag episode, right? Like that was the last time we saw Hodge.
Cameron Hodge, who was right about the X-Men, is the person who was assimilated by the Phalanx. You remember he was the gigantic goo spider that gave you you're taking these orders from.
What? I'm so confused, Gary. This seems so weird.
It's again written by a machine, right? Like it just took and like inserted like what is a villain, X-Men villain name, and that could have been like Sinister was right about the X-Men. It could have been Trask was right about the X-Men. It could have been anything, and they just decided to go with Hodge. The end, the family decides to move to a new town, which makes sense. You're gonna trust all these people after they fucked you over.
Yeah,
and then but he decides not to join the X-Men.
Yeah, which seems legit too. Like my family's moving to a new town. They're doing so because of me. My sister will probably start tearing her skin off in like 6 years. So I probably should be around for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna stick with my family.
I don't want to hang around with you guys because you make no fucking sense.
Yeah. Also,
I can't go with you guys.
Gambit definitely took his dick out in front of me, so I'd need to go.
Yeah. Cannonball want an upgrade? It's so like out of episodes of the show we've done, including the fact that the next one explains the origin of Jack the Ripper. I think that this is one of the weirdest, dumbestly plotted shows, like episodes that we've ever messed with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the preview for this, and I just like bringing this up, is like way back with Mr. Sinister and like kidnapping Jean and Cyclops when Morph was doing like the Shakespeare routine, like way back. Like what is going on with this show?
It makes no sense for being it's like, see this now in reruns. Like maybe at the time this one was ripped, that was going to be the next one planned to air like in reruns.
This was what was on the DVD, dog.
I I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
But the other thing too is it hurts to see that animation, right? Because in the head is the cool thing where the Nasty Boys pull Wolverine out from under the tent, and maybe who knows if in the time when we cover that episode, if we were properly appreciative. I feel like we didn't know what we had. Like, that is a cool fight scene with cool people doing cool powers that make reasonable sense.
I feel like we appreciated it at the time. Like, I feel like we really enjoyed that whole thing because, like, the Nasty Boys were some of the highlights of the series for us.
I really hope we were appropriately grateful, and this episode is not punishment for us not being properly reverent to the good X-Men cartoon.
And if we weren't, and you wanna send us some strong words about it, you can go to daysoffuturecast.com/contact, and we will read it on air when we do our feedback episode. Which, if we haven't mentioned it yet, I'm not quite sure where these are going to come out. But like we decided, since season 5 was so short, we're just going to do season 4 and 5 together. So send in all of your thoughts about the X-Men animated series to us at that address.
Let's talk about a little bit about what we're going to do after X-Men.
I'm into it.
Yeah, because it's kind of people are probably asking us. So we are going to do another movie, of course, after this season. And we were thinking about mainlining the movies, but we still want to do the show. So we're going to kind of still space out those movies, but we're going to switch and do some other 90s Marvel cartoons, starting with the Spider-Man crossover episodes.
Yeah, we want to check out like how these characters showed up in those Spider-Man cartoons and see exactly like what we've been missing from that, which is probably not a whole lot. If I
not
have
a whole
to guess.
lot, but that Spider-Man cartoon is good. Like it's it's a quality show, so it'll be a fun watch. And after that, I think that with the first this animation studio series we're going to do, because it's very short, is the Avengers show, the 90s Avengers show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be
next. It's not going to be X-Men, but it's definitely going to be in the Marvel wheelhouse. Which Gary and I we both are way more Marvel people than we're DC people, so I think that makes sense for us. Like, and also like if we go to the DC cartoons from this time frame, like I'm not going to sit here and joke about the Batman and the animated series because it's so fucking good. Like, right? Like the stuff I've seen about it is really good, and I just don't have a lot of stuff to say about that. So
it's not only that, but it's also like it's been done a lot. Right. So one of the things about moving on to Batman animated series, or even like that Justice League show that everyone says is very good, like that's been discussed a lot because it is very good. You didn't know there was an Avengers cartoon from the 90s. Most people I know didn't know that there was one.
I didn't know there was a Fantastic Four one from the 90s either, and that's a hoot.
Yeah, we're kicking that around as well, like doing these lesser known shitty Marvel things, because I'm more comfortable like joking about it. Like when we get to, if we were going to do one of those DC things, and not like there's been a huge clamoring thing where people have been begging us to do DC things, but let's say we were going to, if we were going to do a DC thing, I feel like I would have no points of reference to it. And there's some value to that, but that's not really, that's not my goal.
Yeah.
I like things being goofy and quite frankly kind of shitty. Like that's what I want.
I want things to be like I'd like my whole thing is to talk about something is to have fun with it. Like I don't want to do like a critical breakdown like that because it's my personal thing. Like I just don't want to do that. Like I don't find a lot of joy in that. So things that are like bad good that I love unconditionally are kind of my wheelhouse. Like I love the X-Men.
Yes,
I will consume just about anything with the X-Men in them, like video games, TV shows, comics, whatever. I will usually like experience it in some way if it's interesting. So like that is kind of where I'm at with that stuff. I want it to be kind of good, bad, and also I want to love it, and that's what this stuff is going to be. And I'm much more familiar with Marvel than DC. So
yeah, I think that's kind of where, and that doesn't mean we'll never do like the good X-Men, like X-Men Evolution or X-Men Wolverine and the X-Men, but that kind of good bad is my favorite. I think that's the secret sauce to this show. Is digging the cool parts about it, but also recognizing the absurd parts, and we're pursuing that at least for now. Eventually we might move on to something that is more unequivocally good. But
I mentioned at some point, I'm reading that book that the story writer for X-Men the animated series wrote, kind of as, I don't think you call it a tell-all, but like as a kind of a breakdown of everything that happened with it. So I'm in the process of reading that, and I would expect for you guys to hear that probably around the time we talk about our feedback episode, because that'll give me enough time to finish it and to kind of make some notes on it. I don't think I don't think that's a whole episode, but I feel like there's some interesting things that we could pull out of there that would be like would explain some things that would be kind of interesting to know about. So
yeah, let's. I mean, we're in no rush to get through anything. Let's see how you feel once you've gotten further in it. And I need that a good reminder for me to pick it up.
Cool.
And then we'll see. See whether it feels like something that would support more time or less time, kind of based on how it articulates.
Do you know if that Avengers Next that we're going to be covering is out there anywhere? Like, is it on the Hulu's or streaming or anywhere? Or is it straight up just like go find some torrents somewhere?
My guess is it's on YouTube. I don't know that to be true, but like it is not a popular show. It's because there's a bunch of Avengers. Let's see, Avengers United, They Stand. Let's see if that comes with full episodes in the old YouTube. There's at least episode 6. This is like, I mean, wow, it's something you can actually pay for on YouTube.
Oh, weird.
How much do they want? Oh man, they're $2. Purchased individually, $1.99. That's too much for this might be a torrentable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think some of them are just on YouTube for free, but
we'll figure all that out, and I'll have something that will come up on the Twitter when we start covering that stuff, and kind of just pointing people to ways that they can watch that along with us. So
yeah, I just found a playlist of all the episodes.
Perfect.
That is not, and it's not like an amazing rip. Oops, sorry, it's an amazing rip, but it's definitely adequate.
Cool.
These costumes, this is what we want.
Before
this is the future.
Before we cover that, though, we've still got one more episode of the X-Men animated series, 2 more episodes of the X-Men animated series to cover. So that'll be what you hear from us in 2 weeks. So until then, you can find me on Twitter at JG Greer. You can find Gary at
Gary Budd, GARYBUH, and you can support the podcast at patreon.com/DuckFeed.tv.
Yep. Also, ratings and reviews are much appreciated, and we'll see you next time with the end of X-Men, the animated series.